Hello, good evening. Welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons. Slightly different lineup this time. Trevor's in Prague. Unfortunately, he can't get some internet at the moment. I think he might be having a beer. So it's myself and Dell. We're going to cover the Burnley game. We're going to look back at Arsenal qualifying to the quarterfinals of the League Cup. And of course, that game tomorrow night against Slavia Prague. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Hello, good evening. Welcome back to another episode 359. Where did it go? I'm joined today by Dell. Dell, how are you, mate?
Evening, bud. Good to see you, mate. I was just watching that video, the intro video, and obviously we always see it because it's the start of every show. But it's not very often I look at it in detail, and seeing some of those photos is great because I haven't been for so long. So it's brings back good memories there.
Danny has reposted on Twitter. If you are watching on Twitter, feel free to repost us. And if you're on YouTube, please click the like, follow, and subscribe. It does help us get along with what we're doing. This is, as I said, episode 359. Shots on target, because that seems to be the subject of every commentator that I talked about Arsenal. I suppose the first thing we should look at is the Brighton game. We'll do it in chronological order. Is probably best. Dale. The Brighton game. Arsenal played Brighton on what night was it? Wednesday night? It was Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night at the Emirates Stadium. A mixture of a crowd because it's not included in the season ticket, and people chose to buy the tickets or not. So it's a very mixed crowd, and the atmosphere at times is up and down. It was our 250th match in this competition, in the League Cup competition. And it ended up with a victory of 2-0. But Mikel Arteta made some lots of changes. I think it was 10 changes were made, including a couple of debuts for some Hale End graduates. With Kappa and goal, White, Mascara, Hincape makes his debut, Lewis Skelly at left back, Norgard, Marino, Wanyeri, Downman, Eze, and Harry Mananous. I've done that. That's probably because I'm on lemonade. What did you make of the lineup? It was good to see Max Downman, only 15 years and 302 days old, the youngest Arsenal player to make a debut. What did you make of the lineup?
I think it was very much expected to be a lot of changes, Ferg, to be honest with you. We've been talking all season about the depth we've got in the squad. And this is the first time I've actually seen so many changes all in one game. I think Eze was the only starter who started him against Palace the weekend before. But it just goes to show, it doesn't just show, we've been talking about it. It actually demonstrates that the squad actually is there. You tell me one of those players, and with the exception of maybe Harry Mananous up front, that isn't capable of starting in our first 11, because every single one of them can do a job and come in at any time. So to see them all getting game time, which they all deserve, let's face it, right? I mean, Mikel sees them in training. They've got to be ready to go at any time. So to see the likes of Ben White taking his chance again, Mascara, Hincape, to have a whole new back four is a brave decision in any game. But it just goes to show what we have there. And I mean, look at midfield, Norgard, Marino, and Wanyeri. They're first team players in their own right, to be honest, there as well, on a rotation basis. And of course, Eze, Dalman, and the young lad up front as well. I'll be honest, I didn't know much about the young lad up front when he started, when his name was mentioned out there. I've seen it bounded around, but I didn't know much about him. I mean, so it was hard to read when they mentioned him starting.
He's the 924th player to ever play for the Arsenal, Harry Mananous. I think, what is he, 17, I think?
17, yeah.
He looked like quite a big lad. He did look, I thought at times, a little bit out of his depth. And I remember reading on some of the WhatsApp chats and the groups that were gone, people were a little bit, saying that he was maybe a step up too far from too soon. But he done all right. He's done all right, I think.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, you can't really judge his performance based on one game anyway. I mean, it was a brave call for Mikel to bring him into the squad and start him, let alone just bring him in. But at the same time, it's a big thing for him, right? I mean, he's probably the proudest puncher that day. Not many people can sit there and say they made a debut for the Arsenal, and I think it just goes to highlight Hale End as well. There's a lot of faith in Hale End. I think we had 4 or 5 in that team coming from Hale End, if you include Eze in that as well. So yeah, it's good. It's good to see the club putting trust in the youth, because there's a lot of speculation about Dalman. Should he be playing more first team minutes? Wanyeri should be playing more first team minutes. So to give these guys the game time in a game like that, I thought it was great. I thought it was great, and a very much expected team, I'd say, as well.
Yeah, to be honest, the game itself, I thought the first half was we were lucky at. I was speaking to a friend of mine and was saying, like, it could have even been 3-0 down in the first 15, 20 minutes, because Brighton did come at us and did try and catch that maybe inexperience of some of those players. And they done okay. But we grew into the game, and that was purely down to a lot of what Max Damon was doing. How did you find his performance overall in the game? I know the penalty thing we'll talk about in a little bit, but...
I really like Max Dalman. I mean, I think he's got a very bright future, and there's a lot of obviously speculation, like previously, about Chelsea trying to poach him as part of the Madueke deal, and was he going to commit long term? I don't think he's going to play many first team minutes this season, if we're honest. Okay, he's a 15-year-old lad. He's just coming through. I think he'll be integrated into the first team, as we saw with people like Ethan beforehand. But I don't think we can expect to see much from him this year. So when we do play him in games like this, I think he takes the bull by the horns and shows what he can do. Let's not forget pre-season, he played the likes of Newcastle, where he got man of the match performance. He's got those performances in him, but we've still got to remember he is just 15 years old. So yeah, I mean, any performance from him on any stage at the moment, I think we have to take a bit of a pinch of salt.
Yeah, no, I agree. I suppose we'll look more at the second half, because the first half ended up being 0-0. I was a little bit bored. Actually, when I say bored, I've said it a few times in a few games. Because of the style of football that we're playing, and it can be quite pragmatic in some ways and very defensive and very effective. We've had, was it 4 games without a shot on target against us? We've kept, I think it's 10 clean sheets in a row in all competitions. So it's definitely working. People are really worried about the Arsenal. Do you get bored watching any of the games?
You know what? I've said it before. I'll say it again. We could win 1-0 every game, and it could be a 90th minute own goal. I really couldn't care. I think what it is, we've just been spoiled over the years. We've had some fantastic players and played some absolutely unbelievable football. Lots of tiki-taka, as they used to call it back in the day. But the reality is football evolves, right? And everything changes with that, and teams and players, they have to evolve with it. And we've been saying for a long time, like pundits have been calling us out for years, saying, oh, you've got to learn to win dirty. You've got to learn to get over the line. We've done that every single time. We've done that this season. So I can't fault it at all, truth be told. And we're keeping clean sheets. And I can't remember who it was. There's somebody said before about, like, keeping clean sheets are what win your titles, right? It's like you can't lose if you don't concede, is a very well-known phrase. And that's exactly what's happening. We're not losing many at all. I mean, the one we lost, it still hurts to this day. We shouldn't have lost that Liverpool game. The reality is we should have won it. But
to be honest, the one that annoys me a little bit more is the Man City game, because the Liverpool game, like both managers said in that particular game, it was going to be an error or a wonder piece by either side that broke that. It was quite a tight game. Looking the way Liverpool are now as well, it does feel a little bit harder. But I thought the Man City game, just because we're out pepped by Pep, he came and set up a Stoke City rather than Man City, and we didn't know what to do for first 45. In the second 45 minutes, we come along and said, right, okay, we're going to change this up, and we've done it. The only goal that we've conceded from open play was in that game with Haaland. He does what he does. But yeah, no, I do get what you mean. Max Damon had a shout for a penalty in the second half, but it was waved away and given as a goal kick. There's no VAR in the League Cup. Did you think it was a penalty?
I'll be honest, I can't remember the incident. I was I played darts on a Wednesday night, and it was on in the background, and I was a little bit worse for wear. So.
No,
I don't remember the penalty shout. I ain't gonna lie, but I have seen it back. I don't remember it really at the time, if I'm honest, though. But it's one of those things, right? I mean, when I prefer no VAR, full stop. So
yeah.
I know the League Cup is a perfect example, right? No VAR, keep it that way. The FA Cup, they get it horribly wrong. Some games have VAR, some don't, depending on where you are. The League Cup shows it works. You're on the right end of some results. You're on the wrong end of some decisions. But it is what it is. And nobody came out moaning at the end of that game, right? Nobody from Brighton was moaning. Nobody from Arsenal was moaning. It was a classic game where it is an example where you don't need VAR. And I'd love to see that.
Max Damon has got a few penalties for us. When he came on
for
his debut, he got a penalty. I think it was at the Champions League game. But he does have this style that certain players do, because his ability is so good. He can draw in a player, and I think this is what he did a bit on this one. He can draw in a player to make the foul or make the tackle, and then he can sometimes make that tackle look like a foul. I saw it, and I could see it be given, but if it was done against us, like if a Chelsea player or a Brighton player or whatever done it against us, I would have felt slightly aggrieved, I think, on that one.
Yeah, I think that having the ability to do that at such a young age, right? Because I don't think he's ever going to ground purposely. He's just that good a player. His feet and his intelligence are that quick. He's quicker. He's reacting quicker than what others are. So he's forcing people to go in for that foul, because if they don't go for that ball, 9 times out of 10 he's going to go past them. And if he goes past them, you either throw on goal, we could square it, we could shoot, whatever it's going to be. They've got no choice but to make these tackles. And I think that's kudos to him, and because he's a very intelligent lad for someone so young.
I think Trevor's agreeing with you here. He says, "I find the game more entertaining without VAR." I think the point you made about the League Cup not having VAR, I don't think it comes in until the semi-finals, and normally that's because it's generally all Premier League or that level at that stage in most cases. But in the FA Cup, I think it should be the same thing. The semi-finals go to Wembley, and only at that point should VAR come in. I think every team should be playing on a level playing field. And if you've got one game that has VAR and another game that doesn't have VAR in the same round, I think it's unfair on everybody. And there was
an example this week as well. There was an example on the Man United game. Did you see that with the VAR as well?
I didn't see a huge amount of football over the weekend because I was in Germany. So,
of course, so there was one. Yeah. It was very similar to us against Newcastle, where the ball, did it cross the line? Did it not? Was it in? Was it out? So even when you got VAR, you still make mistakes. VAR still makes those mistakes. So I'd rather it be human error than VAR. But it is what it is, right? I mean, we're not here to talk about VAR. I thoroughly enjoyed the game. I don't think it was ruined by VAR or VAR brought anything. It would have brought anything different to the game. So yeah. Is what it is.
The second half did flow a bit better than the first half, and it came to life probably as you were on your fourth beer and probably losing your third game of darts. But both teams had opportunities, but it was Arsenal who capitalised. Moreno made a sensational back heel to found Miles Lewis-Skelly in some space on the left, and then he was able to chuck the ball out to Nwaneri, who passed, who fired it low. But still got to it. There was other chances then for Esse and for Brighton in Ayeri. And, as I said, it came to life. But it wasn't until 70? Oh, I've lost track. Go on.
Whilst you're looking into that, I mean, I don't want to just skip over that goal, to be honest with you. That from Nwaneri, because that was a fantastic team goal. Absolutely fantastic team goal. And that from Moreno as well. Did he mean it? People were saying, of course he bloody meant it. You watch him, he does that week in, week out. And I've always been a fan of Moreno, but I like him more and more and more as time goes by. The more I see him play, the more I want him playing in this team, in this starting 11. And there's people in that starting 11 who got to be looking over their shoulders. I mean, even on Saturday, we'll come to that later. He came on at half time, right, for Gyökeres. We know he can score. We know he's effective in front of goal, both on the assisting side as well. I really like Moreno, and that goal I thought was fantastic.
And it was worked brilliantly by him, and it was Nwaneri though. It was taking first touch. It was his first touch and his natural instinct to just shooting. But again, it was a Haaland-made goal in the sense of Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri teaming up. A really good goal. As I said, there was more chances then for Esse, and there was one for Brighton for Ayeri. But then there was a triple change. Down we came off for Saka. And then 76 minutes in, Urian Timber put through Harry Mananous. And I honestly thought the lad was going to score, because it was like 5 minutes beforehand on the WhatsApp groups. People had gone, oh, I don't know, he's crap, this, that, the other. And there's the usual stuff going around. And then he came one-on-one with the keeper. And I thought, oh, he didn't do too badly. The keeper did get a block to it, but it just went to fall to Saka, who doubled our lead. So, another good team goal.
Yeah, fantastic. And I just want to highlight, so Demsek's just mentioned something in the chat there. Hi, Demsek. I hope you're well, bud. Midfield between Rice and Marino, and Rice is number one, 100%, mate. 100%. I don't think anybody would ever disagree with that. I just think Marino's a fantastic option for games such as this. And also when Rice is looking a bit jaded, a bit tired. Because let's face it, he plays a lot of football, Declan Rice, especially during the international breaks when he gets no rest as well. So to have somebody like Marino to come in and do and be just as effective. And now I'm not saying he's just as good, but he's just as effective at times as what Rice is, especially in that attacking role, not so much in the defensive. But I think Marino's a fantastic addition to the squad and really, really complements the team.
There was a news clip. There was a news clip from David Raya talking about Marino, he talked about the depth of the squad, and he used Marino as an example. He can play a 6, he can play an 8, he can play a 10. And as you said, to have him a player of his ability, like a Swiss Army knife of a player that we have in our squad, is a huge, huge, huge asset.
Yeah, massively, absolutely massive. And going back to what we said at the start, I mean, we've said it all season about the depth of the squad. This game highlights exactly that. It was a rotation where we didn't look any weaker by changing 10 players. How many teams competing on all 4 fronts can say that in the league? I don't think there's many.
No, there's not. I don't think there is many, and that was the general consensus of all the pundits and the media lovies who were out to say that we're going to do nothing again and come after about 4 games when we drew to City and lost to Liverpool. The quarterfinal has now been confirmed. When I wrote up my notes, it hadn't, but I'd known it was going to be 8 p.m. on the 23rd. It'll be on ITV and Sky, I believe, as well. Some of the contacts I've got, honestly, what's been going on behind the scenes to try and get this game on is absolutely unreal. One thing's for sure, the Premier League doesn't give a monkeys about the EFL, because they won't move their games for EFL, and Europe won't move their games for anybody. So I think the choices were the 23rd, the 16th. There's people talking about moving the Everton game. That wasn't going to go because of the Premier League. There was even talk of having a Christmas Eve fixture, but thankfully it's the 23rd. So I think just Christmas Eve would be ridiculous for people with family and so on. Don't you think?
Yeah, I think even the 23rd, in all honesty, because I mean, bear in mind the 23rd, I'm just looking at my calendar now, it's a Tuesday. A lot of people will be breaking up that Friday before going away for Christmas. I know I am. I know a lot of people are as well. So we're talking about the atmosphere last week being a lot of midweek atmospheres, to be honest with you, can be a lot more somber than others. But I think that close to Christmas, all I'd say is if anybody is wanting tickets, there's a lot of people out there who are saying they can't get tickets left, right and centre. This will be one of those games where you're pretty much guaranteed a ticket if you want it. So make sure you're entering those ballots, guys.
I think the ballot result
there
for the Brighton game was 100% for red and silver members. So there will be a lot. I'm unsure if I'm going to use my, because I get first refusal on my seat for the season ticket. I'm unsure if I'm going to be using that. Sorry, I've just lost something. I'm unsure if I'm going to be using that myself. So we'll see. It's the 23rd. I got family coming in from Germany that morning. We've got 20 something for Christmas dinner. I don't know what the numbers are yet confirmed.
Oh, who's cooking? Is it you and the missus? Oh wow.
Yeah. So yeah, we cook. We've done it most Christmases. So yeah. I don't mind. It's a killer though. Killer.
Well, don't moan then. You made it sound like you've never done it before. You go, yeah, we do it all the time.
Yeah, we do it all the time. We do it all the time. Right, a game I didn't get to see because I was in person. I saw it in a bar in Berlin with the German Gooners, which was really, really good. I was in Berlin with my son-in-law doing all the touristy sort of things. But more importantly, I managed to go to the Olympic Stadium where Hertha Berlin host the games, and there was 25,000 Dynamo Dresden fans, and it was definitely an experience to be in those singing sections and watching the movement of the crowds and everything else. But the one thing I did come to the conclusion of, I think the atmosphere in a British stadium is better than a European stadium. And the reason I'll say that is with the European ultra type of thing, it's very coordinated and it's almost like military tattoo sort of movements. They get all the fans to move one way and get the other fans to move the other way. And they all, there was one time where there's a guy with a whistle from the trenches is the only noise I can think of. And he's whistling. He's a capo. He's standing up on the upper tier. We need to talk about this to Dan. He's standing on the upper tier on the outside of the railings. I don't know how he's been held on. And he's got a loudhailer in one hand. He's got a whistle in the other. And he's whistling. And everyone just stops. The whole area just stops. He puts 3 blasts of a whistle out. Everyone's hands go up. And then it's like, and then it's so coordinated. But you don't get any natural sort of, somebody starts a song off like, you'll hear them crying out, and it off it goes. So I'm just more spontaneous.
I think there's benefits to both, though. Do you not think? I mean, I'll tell you why I say that is like because the first time I ever saw that in person was Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund came to the Emirates, and they had 2 or 3 guys, the capos at the front, in in boiler suits, orchestrating the crowd, right? And it looks good. It looks good on the eye. It's very entertaining. And it's like for a minute you go, yeah, fair play. But then when they go silent and there's nothing in it, it seems like it is silent and there's not much there. So for periods of it, I think it's great. But I do like the spontaneity. Is that the word? Spontaneity, continuity of the British fans, because it's like you can even at the Emirates, right? You get it time in, time out. Your section where you're sitting, you'll be singing a song, or the North Bank will be singing a song, and then you'll hear something else come from the West Stand, coming from around that way, and then
no, you won't. Not the West Stand.
Oh, fair enough, yeah, but you get my point. And then you'll hear something from the clock end, and then that comes round to us, and the clock end feed off. Everyone feeds off each other, and you'll have different songs going on at different times. So at times it can seem a bit muddled, but when you're in your area, it seems it's great. So I think there's benefits for both, to be honest with you. I quite like some of that orchestrated stuff. I mean, it's not for me personally. I do think it makes a difference. I mean, Block 5 sometime. I mean, I've not been for a while, but Dan and a few of us do an incredible job in orchestrating it in Block 5, Block 6, especially on the bigger games when everyone's had a few beers and it's lively. And it's great. It really is great. I think people like that are important, but I think also it's important to have the kind of. I'll tell you what I think. What do you think of Tottenham?
Looking at what Dan and me and some of the other people do, including yourself, on the concourse of Block 5, 6, and then seeing that translating to try and get it onto the stand and the terraces themselves is very, very difficult. And that's the advantage of having the capos, because everybody in that section that I was in were just eyes on the capo and listening to the commands that they're saying. Almost not, a lot of them weren't even watching the game. I was watching the game. To be honest, they didn't miss much. It was League Two football in the Bundesliga. Dynamo Dresden, the defending was awful for the first goal. A soft penalty for the second goal. Hertha Berlin were okay, but it wasn't brilliant. It was really poor. But it does mean that when people are going into that area, they're fully committed, where we get random different people that come into the different areas of ours because of the way seats rotate and stuff. And you don't get that.
You know where this is going, don't you? You know where this is going. Section. The thing is, and this is where the capos do have a benefit, right? In places like Dresden, for example, they are clearly there because they've been allowed to be there by the club. They're not just hanging from the rafters because they just think it's cool or it's fun. They are in contact with the club to get people going, to generate the atmosphere, and it works, right? There's no 2 ways about it. You've just sat there and said a whole stand of people, most of them are not even watching the game, they're watching the capo. How do we get a combination of what we already do with that kind of as well? That's what we need to do. And I know there's always conversations going on. I don't want to speculate, but
I think Dan's thoughts and some other thoughts are of having a section of like-minded people. You can see it works at Celtic. It works at a lot of the Scottish football, where they've got sections which there are all like-minded people who want to sing and bang a drum if they want to bang a drum, or play tin whistles, whatever it is. I think that's the route we should be going down. Next up, let's talk about the game Saturday. As I said, I watched it with 40 or 50 German Gooners. That was funny as well. They got Red Army. They got the words of that right. They couldn't get their heads around the Eze song. They could do the la 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 la. That's all they could do, and then they kept on going. Fuck off, Tottenham! I'm a Gooner now. But it was really good. It was good. There were a good, friendly bunch of people. Different way of watching.
Did they only get the words wrong because it was you trying to teach them?
I wasn't getting involved. I kept quite quiet. I wasn't feeling 100%. I just want to sit there and watch the game. I sat in the corner, watched the game on the TV, but just observed them, and they were brilliant. The only time I did actually get involved, they said, we're the North Bank, and then somebody else, we're at the clock end, and then the guy did the North Bank, was about 2 or 3 of them. So I stood up, and I'm gone, we're the North Bank, and then so that's the only time I got involved. But yeah, it was good. It was good. Let's look at the lineups for this one. I think it's an unchanged side again in the Premier League. Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori, Rice, Zubamendi, Eze, Saka, Trossard, and Gyökeres. Can't fault the side, can you? Is there much to talk about it?
It's expected, and if you're putting your strongest 11 out, that's what you're putting out. I mean, the only, even when fit for me, when everybody's fit, the only question marks are you've got maybe on the left-hand side, Trossard or Martinelli, and then you've got the debate Eze or Odegaard. If Odegaard's fit, he takes it for me. But other than that, it's about as full strength as it gets. But again, it just shows the depth we have got. We're missing some key players, and we're still able to put that team out. And then look at the bench. We were saying how strong that team is. We put out against Brighton, considering it was rotation. Those players we spoke about, they're good enough to get in most people's first teams in the Premier League. They're all on our bench for that game. So I mean, I was quietly confident going into the game. I mean, I know there's a lot of people saying it's a tough place to go, and they're a very stubborn team to break down, and all of that jazz. But I was quietly confident. I mean, if anybody looks back at my my Twitter, I've just been looking at it now actually. I was speaking to Hente, a good friend of the show, on there, and I said 2-0. I'm quite comfortable in a 2-0 win, and I even called Gyökeres to score the first goal. I actually said he'd get a hat trick, and I still stand and say if he stayed on the pitch, he probably would have done. Can I just say, whilst I'm on the subject of him as well, I personally think that was the best 45 minutes he's played in the famous red and white. I thought he was absolutely phenomenal. Now, I'm just looking at the comments. Comments have been quiet for a little while now. I mean, just be interesting to see what you guys thought. I mean, is that just me overreacting? I don't know, but I genuinely thought that was the best 45 minutes of football we've seen from Victor Gyökeres.
I have to agree. And I had somebody come along and said, my only criticism that he was a bit weak on the ball. I said, no, he wasn't. I thought he was very strong on the ball. I thought he held his men off very well. I thought the question that Harry Simeon asked, was he concerned more about the man than the ball a few weeks back? He had seemed to got his head around that. He got his head around the following week, and he was outstanding. He was creating space for himself. He was running onto balls. He just looked really, really, really dangerous. I don't know if that's because Burnley sat a little bit more deeper and gave us that. I don't know. Was it down to Burnley's tactics that trying to nick one earlier?
No, I don't know. I don't think it was, because from early doors, Kyle Walker was trying to rough him up. Kyle Walker's notoriously strong at the back. He's big. He's powerful. He shields the ball well. And him and Gyökeres had a great battle out there, but Gyökeres won. So he can't. I get what Harry's saying about he's got his eye on the ball sometimes.
That was a few weeks ago. I don't think that. Yeah.
No, of course, yeah. I get what he's saying about that, and in the past I could see it, but I think at times he needs that in his game, because if not, he'd got bullied in that game by some of those Burnley defenders. But he didn't. It was the other way around. He bullied them. He was strong. He was great on the ball. His vision, I mean, his range of passing again in that game was fantastic. And I couldn't fault him. I stand by it. That was the best 45 minutes I've seen from Victor Gyökeres so far. And Alan Shearer, we spoke about this a few weeks ago. He was saying anybody who thinks Gyökeres is underperforming doesn't necessarily understand a good old centre forward, because that is how a centre forward should play. He's a good old fashioned centre forward who likes to get stuck in there. He likes to get the ball, and goals will come. And we're starting to see that slowly now. He had 2 the week before, got a goal on Saturday, and I've got no doubt in my mind if it had stayed on the pitch for the second half, he would have he'd have got more as well.
Simon, who came, he agrees with you about Gyökeres, but he said Burnley were dreadful, the easiest game we've had so far. I don't think they were dreadful. I think the game. Go on.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit harsh to say they were dreadful. I think we didn't allow them to come and play. They clearly wanted to take it to us, tried to, but couldn't because of what we had going forward. And they knew full well that if they were to attack us like they tried to at times, that they were just going to get stung on the counter. And the form of some of our players, I thought Trossard was fantastic. I thought he was great. I thought Gyökeres, like I say, that the talent we had going forward and the way they were playing together, Burnley just had to change what they were going to do, because if not, that could have been 5 or 6-0. And for a team like Burnley, who are potentially going to be involved in a relegation battle, goal difference is massive. So if you'd have said to Burnley before that game, the form Arsenal are in, the form Burnley are in, would you have taken a 2-0 or a 1-0 loss? I think a lot of fans would have said yes. Now, I know people will disagree with that. I get it, right? But in their heart of hearts, if they take their heart off and put their head on, a lot of people expected Arsenal to win that game, including Burnley fans. So I wouldn't say they were dreadful. I think we were very good and didn't allow them to be any more than what they were.
Yeah. To be honest, yeah, it was Trossard. As again, he deserves a mention. I thought Trossard was outstanding, and I know many a time we've come along, and you mentioned it just even at the beginning. It's his 100th game for Arsenal, by the way, and it was him and there's one other player for Burnley, I think, are the two players that have played 100 games for two different teams, because he played 100 games for Brighton, and then he's played over now 100 games for us. But I thought he was really good, and there's always an argument saying, who should start? Should Trossard start or Martinelli start? I think looking at that game and the way Trossard played in that game and the previous couple of games, he deserves his starting berth. And it's really interesting to see this battle for that starting place between Martinelli and Trossard. And it's just making them better and better and better as players.
Massively. And when you look at the last 12 months, there's been, I won't shy away from it, there's been a lot of criticism of Martinelli saying, is he the player he once was? And can he still do it at this level? And does he deserve to be starting? And the form of him and Trossard, I think they're bringing the best out of each other. Like you say, there's that competition there. None of them want to be on the bench. You can see it. When Trossard's on the bench, he hates it. When Martinelli's on the bench, he hates it. And when they come on, they both feel like they've got a point to prove. So I think it's healthy competition. I don't think it does us any harm at all. And I think, it's bringing the best out of both.
I think it's the atmosphere within the team and the collective. I think, Christ, could you imagine this 4 or 5 years ago with having Aubameyang, Ozil, and Lacazette and co in there? They'd be killing each other. And yes, it's good to have competitiveness, but it needs to be like together as like everyone is pulling on the same direction. Let's look at the game, because Danny says in the chat here, Declan Rice was phenomenal. I agree. 13 minutes in the set piece, Rice puts on a sixpence for a corner, another set piece again, and it was Gyökeres' opening goal. But it was that deft touch by Gabby to put the ball back in to Gyökeres, who done what you want a proper poacher striker to do, just pick up on those loose balls and poke it in the back of the net. Really well worked corner goal. Corner goal. That's what we like to call them in future, I think, for us. Because our last 4 games, I think we scored an away goal from a corner. Really worked corner, resulting in a goal. What were your thoughts on Rice and well, I think you've done Victor, but Gabby as well?
Yeah, when it comes to corners, there's 2 things that go hand in hand, and there's Deck and there's Big Gabby, right? Even the Burnley fans were like, they knew it every time we got a set piece. It was just kind of like, I mean, the Arsenal fan. On that note as well, can I just say the travelling fans were absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. That's probably one of the loudest I've seen them in a long time. Whether that was just the TV I was listening to, I don't know. But I thought they were great. Hats off to all of you there. Arnie's just mentioned it there. Hearing the Burnley fans, we got a corner. It was also, it's almost like you know what's going to happen. And people say it's boring, right? People say, oh, Arsenal set piece specialist. Stop us then. Difference is they can't. Because not only are we so well rehearsed, we've got more than one option when it comes to corners and things. And yeah, I mean, Declan Rice, you know exactly what you're going to get from him. And again, I think Rice, someone mentioned in the comments a minute ago, I think it was Danny over on X. Declan Rice was phenomenal and a very, very well deserved man of the match. There's a few comments now on which you've just highlighted one actually there. I mean, I think Dempsek mentioned it as well about the lack of the lack of options up front, which is a concern, and the injuries. I'm kind of get it, but I kind of don't. I'm not sure when the likes of Madueke and that are back, but from what I remember, he's been gone for about 4
do you
weeks
think
now.
that the lack of striking options to George Graham gave him any concerns? 1-0 to the Arsenal, as we said earlier on.
Yeah. If we were if we're Man City and Haaland, I'd get it because all their goals are coming from one place. But we're not.
They're in trouble. They're in trouble if he gets injured.
Their second top goal scorer is own goals. That's how bad it is. Man City's second top goal scorer, with 2, by the way, is own goals, and we're 10 games into a Premier League season. They've only got 5 other players, I think it is, that have scored 1 goal. So, but I don't want to talk about Man City. I don't want to talk about them. Havertz, I think he's on his way back soon. I think Havertz isn't far back from back. I mean, I know he's back in training. I don't think Madueke will be back very too much longer either. Probably towards the end of November, early December.
I think it's the Sunderland game that we need to get through, and then the international break. To be honest, even if they're fit, just in or around the Sunderland game, don't play him, don't bench him, whatever, because I don't want anyone going on international duty and get injured again before they can play for us. Probably because of some pointless thing. Yes, Simon says 1 more game to negotiate before players start making the return. Gyökeres was a niggle, so I'm expecting Gyökeres to be back for Sunderland next weekend. The next,
just a bang. It took a bang on the nose, wasn't it? Just before half time.
He got something on his face and he moaned about that, which is fair enough. It's they all do, and a little bit. I don't think it was anything of anything, but Arteta said he felt something, a muscle or something. He felt something. So as a precaution, they took him off. Listen, they're 2-0 up to Burnley. They were cruising, and put Marino on is not going to weaken us in any way. It looked like we wanted to maintain what we were going to do in the second half. So I didn't have an issue with that at all. Trossard and Calafiori teamed up, but the Italian effort was deflected wide. Saka was 1-on-1 with Dubravka. Should he have scored? Should Saka have done better?
I'll never say he should have done better because he only knows what he's doing. Did I expect that to hit the back of the net? Yeah, you're damn right I did. And I don't think there's an Arsenal fan in the country that didn't. Saka 1-on-1 is normally so reliable like that. He hit it straight at him, didn't he? Yeah. Did I expect him to do better? Yes. Am I going to grumble about it? No. The amount he brings to us every other time, and what the amount he does put away. I don't mind him missing the odd one every now and then because he missed this one because he's going to put another 2 in against Sunderland. That's why he was saving himself for next week. And I agree with the comments and what you said as well. The Sunderland game is massive. There's no doubt about that. But I've got a very similar opinion to this game, maybe naively, than what I had at the Burnley game. I do think it will be more comfortable than what people think it will be. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be comfortable, but I think it'll be more comfortable than what people think it will be. Sunderland, they're in a good run of form. Yes, Granit Xhaka's got a point to prove, but I just think we're a different animal this year. And my concern isn't the teams like Sunderland, like Burnley, because we're now picking up points against those which we would have dropped previously. I think it's the bigger games we need to take points off the likes of City, the likes of Liverpool, which we have done previously, but this season we haven't. So I just hope that's not setting a trend because the next league game, we all know where that's going after Sunderland, right?
Yeah, I know. Saka came good to a certain degree. The next time he had an effort rebounded off the keeper, only to fall to Trossard. And I thought this one as well. I jumped up in the bar. I thought this one was in, but Burnley managed to get 2 players back and clear it off the line. It was just incessant at that point, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that game on another day, you could play that game. That if we played the same as we did, that could have been 4 or 5, and I don't think anybody would have been surprised. I've got nothing against Burnley. I quite like Burnley. I don't think they'll go down, but I don't think they'll be far off. I just think we just have way too much of them, way too much. And nobody would have batted an eyelid if it was 1-0 or if it was 5-0. If it was 1-0, people would have said it would be a tough place to go. If it was 5-0, people would have said it's only Burnley. So I don't think that we could look too much into it either way.
I'll tell you what I really did like, and it did give me reminiscence of when we had Thierry Henry, Bobby Perez, and everything else, was the 34th minute goal that Rice scored. And it wasn't the header, which we'll talk about. It was, we were defending a long throw. We're defending a set piece. And I remember watching one years ago with Thierry Henry, we're defending a corner. And I don't know who was against. It might have been Wigan or something like that. And then 15 seconds later, they're picking the ball out of the back of the opposition's net. In this case, it was a long throw. and a beautiful counter-attack, again started by Gabby, to Saka, to Gyökeres. Superb cross from Gyökeres into Trossard, and Trossard lofted an absolute beauty to Declan Rice. He got up like a salmon, as they say, and it was straight in the back of the net. There was no saving that whatsoever, was there?
Beautiful header, absolutely beautiful header. It really was, and it was one of those goals where you can watch over and over and over again. You'd never get bored of it. I think of all people who deserved a goal on that day, it was probably Declan Rice. He was everywhere. He was, and as Irish Mick says in the comments there, Burnley could have played us till Christmas, and they'd have been absolutely nowhere near scoring. It was just a case of how many. Yeah, I'm so happy with Declan Rice, and you know what though, what I'm seeing now in Declan Rice as well. His leadership qualities. I know there's been a lot of calls for captains, etc., whatever it's going to be. The beauty of this Arsenal side is we don't have one captain. We have a captain's armband, but we have several leaders on that pitch. You look at the likes of Declan Rice. You look at the likes of Gabby. You look at the likes of Gyökeres to an extent now as well. We've got a lot of leaders in that team. And Declan Rice, although he's not the captain, he leads by example. He is a leader in that squad, and I was delighted for him. That was a great header. Great header.
Yeah. Second half, Gyökeres comes off, Marino comes on. We talked about that side of things. It seemed like we were focusing on just trying to keep hold on to what we got and maybe nick something if it came up, but there wasn't a huge amount of push to try and score anything. And Nwaneri came close to getting the third late on, and he just went wide in the left-hand corner. I was with Martin and Ulf, my son-in-law and his dad, in this German bar. And the joke that we were going on as the German commentator every time was that Burnley went anywhere near the goal and made a shot or everything. Oh, was that one on target? Was that one on target? Was that one on target? We were going, that's not on target. That's not on target. And they came close at the very end when Marcus Edwards, from a free kick, he hit the post. Because he hit the post, I turned around and said, and that one wasn't on target. So,
so true, so true. Speaking about that, did you see the stats in October? We had 6 games, 6 clean sheets, and only one shot officially on target against us.
And that shot was not a shot. That is not a shot. That's Eddie
Nketiah
jumping up for a ball.
Yeah.
Raya gets it, and Eddie doesn't even get to the ball. It's absolutely ridiculous. You sent me a picture.
Do you reckon that's ever happened? Do you reckon that's ever happened? Has any team ever take away 6 games? Let's say 4 games. Has anyone ever been that many games without a shot on goal, a shot against them on target? I don't think there has.
I've
got nothing to back that up with, but I couldn't imagine it.
I think we're close to some stats that if we go another game without a shot on target or something like that, we could be, you're going back. Ronnie in the chat might be able to help us. He's got some good history facts on there. If not, I'll reach out to Andy Kelly or one of those and see. You sent me a picture. West Brom done a great thing at halftime, following it on from what we always do with Andy's Man Club. I like this. Talk to me about this this bit that you saw here, because you sent it to me.
Oh yeah, so there was a really good advert actually. I don't know if you remember, Norwich City did an advert beforehand. It was a really powerful one where 2 guys sitting there talking at the football, and one day the guy's not there. Now, as you know, for the regular viewers, put those in the comments. Andy's Man Club is something that's really close to us, along with men's mental health and things. And I think today is actually Men's Mental Health Day or something along those lines.
It's Men's Mental Health Month this month.
Sorry, yeah. So it's really prominent and out there. I mean, I know we keep going on about it, and I know you see it all over social media, but there's a reason for that, guys. It's because sometimes people need to hear it 2 or 3 times. They need to hear it 4 or 5 times before actually doing something about it. So when I was scrolling through X and I saw that about what West Brom had done, it was like, it's a very good point. And if you all think back, for those of you who go to the games, for those of you who watch the games at the pub, you'll see people, you'll see regular faces, be it in a pub, be it wherever you're watching the games. What's it take to ask them? I mean, you'll probably always say to them.
The screen came up and said it's half time for 15 minutes. Don't just talk about the football. How about turning around to the guy next to you or your mate and saying, "Are you okay?" Along the same lines of it's okay to talk, that another strapline said about asking people, "Are you okay?" And you are right. It's about us blokes trying to be big and hard and everything else. But sometimes you do need to let your guard down and talk to somebody if you need to. Andy's Man Club is the one that we the charity that we've supported. I was going to say teamed up with, but we haven't teamed up with him because we don't get anything for it. We spent time talking to Alex. We've had him on a couple of times, talking about what they do, and I just think it's really, really important.
Massively.
Like you, we've lost friends to suicide, and I know some good friends of mine who still have really, really difficult times just getting through week to week. So, hence why we put it up. Next up, what we got next up tomorrow night, 5:45 Tuesday, is Slavia Prague versus Arsenal. A couple of comments I saw in there which were quite interesting. One was from Adam. I reckon Victor Gyökeres might be out, so if he does pick up a card tomorrow, he would miss the Munich game. And Ronnie mentioned that Arteta said, "I am concerned about Gyökeres." Do we need Gyökeres in this fixture?
All I'd say is Arteta said 2 weeks ago he was concerned about Gabby, and Gabby started. The following week he said he was concerned about Saliba. Saliba started. I'm not sure is the reality of it. I mean, he knows. I mean, I didn't know he'd said that. So, Ronnie, thanks for putting up. I've just literally flashed it up on Sky Sports just now as well. It does say here, Arteta admits he is concerned about Arsenal strikers. He misses Slavia Prague game. So it seems like he's already ruled out the Slavia Prague game. So maybe there is more to it. I don't know. Maybe it is just mind games ahead of Sunderland on Saturday. But by the sounds of it, after the quick 10-second skim read I've just done there, he's not in the Slavia Prague team tomorrow. So
he isn't in training, and he has suggested he would be back for Sunderland.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised either way. Like I say, I mean, if tomorrow's a massive game. I don't know. It's a good question actually. A question I'm going to pose to those in the chat and also yourself, Ferg. What is the tougher game, Slavia Prague away or Sunderland away?
Sunderland away, but the importance of every game is important. The Slavia Prague, some of the facts I got on there, the teams have forced to face each other 4 times. First meeting in 2007, 2008 in the group stage, where Arsenal won 7-0 at home. Theo Walcott scoring twice before going goalless in Prague. The clubs were also paired together in the 2020 and 2020-21 Europa League quarterfinals, where there was an equaliser in the first leg in London, and Arsenal thumped them 4-0 in Prague, Saka scoring the third goal. So I do think we're a better team than we were in the Europa League. I don't think they've won any of their games in Europe. I think they've not won a game in the last 5 in Europe. I think we'll have enough to do them. So I'm with the majority in the chat here. There's Arnie, there's Trevor and Heath. Also, in the Sunderland game is more important, but the importance of getting a win against Slavia Prague, we've got Bayern Munich up next, so it takes the pressure off a little bit for that game. I know it's at home, but if it ended up being a draw, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, no, completely. Yeah, I mean, I don't see a draw in either, if I'm honest. And again, maybe I'm just being a little bit naive here, but I think we've got more than enough to go past both of them. The reason I asked that question is because if Gyökeres is out for tomorrow, but he's back for Sunderland, I think I'd rather have Gyökeres back for Sunderland.
Yeah,
I seem to think the European style of football it suits Mourinho better. So I'd expect Mourinho to play up top if Gyökeres wasn't available. The reason I say that is because when you look at international football, when he plays for Spain against the teams they're playing against, it's more of they don't tend to play that low block that you see a lot in the Premier League. They seem to come at you a lot more, which allows people to play in behind them and get a bit more space, which I think Mourinho would flourish at. Whereas I think that deeper block, I think Gyökeres is up for a battle a bit more than what others are. So I think if he's out tomorrow, Gyökeres, I would expect to see Mourinho. I've just seen someone say in the comments a minute ago about maybe Trossard through the 9, through the middle. Sorry, we've seen Trossard through the middle before. I think he can play there. I think he needs to learn what the offside rule is when he plays there, because he all seems to be offside. But then that also begs the question: who plays on the left-hand side if Nelly's still injured? I don't know. I don't know. I'd expect Mourinho now, knowing that I think Mourinho will play through the middle tomorrow.
So there's a couple of comments on here, and Baz Demsek, the results of Slavia Prague could have more of an impact. We need to finish in the top 8. For me, Demsek, I think we need to finish in the top 4. The team that are on form in Europe at the moment are Bayern Munich. They're smashed up over in their league, and they're doing quite well in the Champions League stages. PSG being top, Bayern Munich, Inter, then Arsenal. If we can remain in that top 4 position, it gives us the opportunity to, for the remainder of the competition while we're in, have the second leg of any of the 2-stage games at home, and that's got to be an advantage in most cases. So
yeah, no, agreed. I mean, it's a tough one. I do expect. I was just seeing someone a minute ago say, but I expect us to beat both 2-0. It's Adam actually. Adam on YouTube there. I tend to agree with you there. I think we'll probably win both games 2-0. The one on tomorrow against Prague, but also the one on Saturday, which we'll probably touch on later in the week. So I don't want to go too much into that at the moment, the Sunderland game. But I think that what's everyone's thoughts on the early kickoffs? Because I mean, me personally, I'm having to leave work early to get back for it. I know a lot of people.
I work here.
With it. Yeah, fair.
I work here.
So, the thing is, I know obviously a lot of people will struggle with it. I'm not keen on these early kickoffs, truth be told.
I don't mind them, and I suppose if you're out there, it's not a bad time. I know when we've played a couple of European games and the 5:45 sort of fixtures, it was an awful lot better, especially if you've been out on the beer all day. You get back at a reasonable time, especially if they keep you in afterwards, which a lot of these European sides do seem to do. And like 5:45 here is 7:15 in Prague. So 7:15 if you've been on the beer, probably true. 11, 12 o'clock. For them, it would make it an awful lot easier. So
very true. Big shout on that note. On that note, Ferg, big shout out to the boys out in Prague, because I know a lot of people had issues getting out there, and the flights were all over the place, and there was loads of different ways out there. So fair play to those that have travelled.
Yeah, I suppose on the back of that, we know some of our friends, fortunate enough, weren't caught up directly with the incident on the train coming back from Peterborough down to London on Saturday. But many of them, because of the West Coast line having a lot of maintenance work on it, did transfer over to the East Coast line. And we know some people that were like a train behind, and some people who had to stay up north and then have missed connecting flights yesterday and so on to get out to Prague, and it's cost them more money to get out there. Well done to them, and thoughts with everybody who's been involved in that incident. Is close to where you are and some of your friends. It came a bit too close for comfort for you, didn't it?
Yeah, it's for those who know. I mean, I live just north of Peterborough, and I think it was one of the Leeds trains. I kind of get that train every day when I'm in the office. So it's a bit too close for comfort, but yeah, it's as you mentioned. I don't want to go too much on it because I don't think these people deserve the airtime, but I do. I just thoughts with everybody who's on there, and fantastic from the staff, and just again, it's about sticking together in times like this, isn't it? So,
and as the stories come out, as Kev says on there, the Forest fan offering to help. He's had half his hand chopped up, and you've got the train worker who's thankfully not in life-threatening situations anymore. But yeah, it's just awful. It's just absolutely dreadful. So how are you going to what time are you going to have to leave work at? Are you not going to go into a boozer down the city then and watch it?
No, so I'm in London tomorrow. I'm going to hopefully leave around about 4, which will get me home pretty much bang on for kickoff. So that's my plan anyway. And I'm going to enjoy everything I can at the moment. I mean, I've not been to the Arsenal this season much at all because I've been waiting for an operation. My operation's on Wednesday. So I'll be back hopefully for Spurs and then here on out afterwards. So I'm not missing any football in a minute. I'm going to enjoy what I can when I can.
Yeah, and you know what? It's easier on the pocket as well. You don't have to go all the time.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
God, doesn't that make a difference? I'm up to Sunderland at the weekend, staying in Newcastle on Saturday night and travelling back. I'm with Dan and Trev and all of those. I expect they're going to be hanging because they won't get back into the UK till Thursday. Maybe Wednesday. I don't know when they're coming back, but they'll definitely be hanging.
Gary's just put on there breaking news: Hillsy's on the booze. He ain't going to see that today, unfortunately, bud, because he's told us he's got no internet signal and the internet's pretty crap out there. So that's why he couldn't join us tonight.
I had seen that, and then I thought, oh, okay. But listen, he hasn't had hasn't any booze since the 22nd of June, so he's going to need 2 wine gums, and he'll be anybody's.
He will now officially be. I know we've joked about him being 2-pint Trev before, but he probably now genuinely will be 2-pint Trev. So fair play to him, though. Fair play to you, Trevor.
Listen, there's 386 of you watching across all platforms. We'd love if you go over to YouTube. I've got a QR code that I can put up here for you, and it'll be up here in the corner. If you just hover over that QR code or go to Guns and Yellow Ribbons on YouTube, give us a like and subscribe. It really does help us out. We don't make a fortune. We don't make anything. I think I'm up to 25 quid now. And YouTube don't pay anything until you reach 60. And when I reach that infamous 60, I'll buy the guys a beer in the pub before football one day. I don't know what season it will be. We might have won the Champions League and the Premier League by that stage. I hope.
I'm more impressed that there's still nearly 400 people watching. It's just the two of us. It's
yeah. I think we've done quite well, actually, mate. I think we've done quite well.
But honestly, guys, not all the comments are put up, but we can see every single one of them was there, and it does give us things to talk about as well. Even Danny saying O'Hara in an Arsenal shirt. I can see that, Danny. Don't put it up, Ferg, but I can see that.
Yeah.
Mate.
Oh yeah, Danny.
All these things that they give us things to bounce off and talk about. And I know Trevor did one a show on Friday on his own. You guys are really important. When there's 3 or 4 of us on here, it's a lot easier because there's a lot of things you can bounce off each other and talk about, and you remind each other things. But when it's just the 2 people, it is. I mean, we've not rehearsed anything tonight. It's just as it is. It's just as with the theme of the podcast as normal. 4 mates in a pub. Tonight, there's just 2 of us.
People know how good I am at multitasking as well, and I'm trying to do all the comments. I'm trying to do all the different banners, all the photos, and read the notes to know where we're going, and pretend I'm listening to Dale's answers.
Okay. So apparently Ferg can multitask, apart from when it comes to Christmas dinner, and he just moans about it. But
that's my job. That's my job.
But Demsek just raised a good point actually. Before you go there, Oxlade-Chamberlain. Have you guys seen him? He's training with the Arsenal. He's 32 years old. Yeah, it's I know he's without a club at the moment. Personally, I think that ship's long gone. But I don't know. There's been a few people saying about the injuries in here. Would you? I don't know.
No. Listen, the lad. You know, I think we all get romantic about the Hale End things, but you know, he's not of the quality of Eze. He's not of the quality of.
Just to throw out there, I was joking, right? I was joking.
Yeah.
I just see the comment about it. I'm not interested at all.
Right, listen, I am going to press the button because that's what we do. I don't know who Gary is. Every time at the start, I go, Gary. It really cracks me up.
Oh, cracking! Before we go, guys, just a massive shout out to those again who are out in Prague. Have a good one, lads. Sing the hearts out, bring it home, and stay safe. Most importantly, stay safe out there.
To all 404 of you tuned in tonight, thank you very much. You have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Thank you very much, Dale. Really appreciate you being my sidekick tonight. Up the Arsenal and fuck Spurs.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.